I would never forget my granddaughter calling me, telling me that her mother had got. I would never forget those screams. I would never. The screams when she was calling me, telling me her mother got shot. The screams in the emergency room when the doctor told us she didn't make it. It's like a bad dream that I can never wake up from.
It just don't feel real. It don't feel real. One day you wake up with your mom next to your side, and the next day it's quiet. You know, you can't see her no more.
Struck her from us for no reason. She walked away from her more than one time, and she kept on.
What provoked her to continue to engage with my mom?
This tragedy is all over the news. We want them to know who she was. She was a person.
She loved her family. She loved big. She had a big heart.
October 7th, 2025. A mother lies dying in a Dallas parking lot. 3 bullets in her body, all because she held a door open. Her 20-year-old daughter watches in horror, her screams echoing across the asphalt. Hours later, that same daughter calls her grandmother, and the sound that comes to the phone is something no family should ever hear. Leslie Wickware, mother of the victim, would later tell reporters, "I would never forget my granddaughter calling me, telling me that her mother had got shot. I would never forget those screams. I would never forget the screams when she was calling me, telling me her mother got shot, the screams in the emergency room. The doctor told us she didn't make it." This is a story about how a simple act of courtesy spiraled into a tragedy that shattered a family and left a community asking one devastating question: how did politeness turn deadly? If you're already feeling that gut punch and want to stay with us as we uncover exactly how something so small became so catastrophic, do me a solid right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to CrimeLab Report, and smash that bell icon. Because cases like this need attention. They need justice. They need to be told. And if you skip subscribing, stories that demand answers stay buried longer than they should. We're building a community here that refuses to let these cases fade into silence. So join us. Let's dive in. Cecilia Simpson was 41 years old when her life ended in that parking lot. To her family, she was so much more than a headline. She was a mother of 2, a daughter, a sister, a cousin. Her 16-year-old son, Deron Williams, described it with a kind of simple truth that only comes from real love. His mom had a big heart. Her cousin Stephanie Wickware echoed that sentiment, saying Cecilia loved her family, loved big, loved hard. Her sister Monica Nelson wanted the world to understand something crucial. Outside of this horrible tragedy, Cecilia was a person who had kids and a family who loved her and will miss her. She wasn't defined by how she died. She showed love through every small act of kindness, helped often, and saw the good in everyone. That's who Cecilia Simpson was. She lived in Dallas, Texas, where October days can still feel like summer. On that particular Tuesday afternoon, around 1 o'clock, Cecilia was doing something completely ordinary. She was out shopping with her 20-year-old daughter at the Wheatland Town Crossing Shopping Center on West Wheatland Road in southeast Oak Cliff. It was supposed to be a normal day, maybe running errands, picking up a few things, spending time together. Mother and daughter. Nothing special, nothing dangerous. Just life. They had no idea that within the next hour, everything would unravel because of a moment so small, so trivial, that it almost doesn't make sense. But that's the thing about tragedy, isn't it? Sometimes it starts with nothing at all. They were leaving a store called Five Below, one of those discount shops where you can grab random stuff for cheap. As Cecilia and her daughter walked out, Cecilia did something most of us were taught to do as kids. She held the door open for the person behind her. That person was a 22-year-old woman named Kiona Zakua Hampton. Now here's where it gets wild. Hampton walked through that door without saying thank you. No acknowledgement, no nod, nothing. And you know what? Most of us have been there, right? Someone doesn't say thanks. You might roll your eyes, maybe mutter something under your breath, and you move on with your day. But that's not what happened here. Cecilia Simpson got upset. She said something to Hampton about the lack of manners. Hampton said something back. And just like that, Two strangers were arguing in front of Five Below store over a thank you that never came. Think about that for a second. How many times have you been annoyed by someone's rudeness, but just let it go? What makes someone decide not to let it go? We'll come back to that question, but right now, you need to understand that this argument didn't end at the door. Both women kept going. Both women kept engaging. Cecilia and her daughter got into their car and drove across the same shopping center, the PetSmart. They were just moving on with their day, or so it seemed. But Hampton didn't let it end either. She followed them. On foot, she walked from Five Below to PetSmart, tracking them down. Now put yourself in Cecilia's shoes for a moment. You just had a weird argument with a stranger. You got in your car, you drove to another store, and that stranger shows up again. That's got to feel unsettling, right? Maybe even threatening. When Cecilia and her daughter walked into PetSmart, they immediately told the employees what was happening. They said someone was following them. They were trying to get help, trying to alert people that something wasn't right. And then Hampton walked in. She didn't go after Cecilia this time. She started arguing with Cecilia's daughter, the 20-year-old who had just watched her mom hold a door open and now found herself in the middle of a confrontation that made no sense. Hampton eventually left the store, and for a brief moment, maybe everyone thought it was over. Maybe the employees breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe Cecilia and her daughter thought they could finally finish their errands. But several minutes later, Hampton came back. She walked back into that PetSmart and started arguing with Cecilia again. At this point, the employees had seen enough. They told everyone to leave. Get out. Take this drama somewhere else. So all three women walked out into the parking lot, and that's when things went from heated to dangerous. Cecilia and her daughter headed toward their car, probably just wanted to leave, wanting this bizarre afternoon to be over. Then Hampton threw something. A drink bottle. She hurled it at their vehicle. Now pause right here. If you're Cecilia, what do you do in that moment? Do you ignore it and drive away? Do you call the police? Or do you confront the person who's been following you, harassing you, and now throwing things at your car? Cecilia chose confrontation. Cecilia walked over to Hampton. The verbal argument turned physical. And here's where the accounts get really specific, because Cecilia's daughter saw everything. She told police that her mother struck Hampton several times. Cecilia was yelling at Hampton to leave her alone, hitting her, trying to end this thing once and for all. The daughter stepped back from the fight, maybe hoping her mom would just finish it and they could leave, maybe too shocked to know what to do. And in that moment, when Cecilia had the upper hand, when she was the one physically dominating the fight, Kiona Hampton reached for something, a black and silver handgun. 3 shots rang out across that parking lot. Bang, bang, bang. Cecilia Simpson collapsed right there on the pavement. Her daughter watched her mother fall. Other shoppers heard the gunfire. Cell phones came out. Some people captured video. Surveillance cameras at PetSmart recorded the whole thing. And Hampton? She ran. She fled the scene, got into her black 2005 Ford 500, a car that had visible damage on it, and she drove away from the woman she had just shot 3 times. Can you imagine being that daughter? You spend an afternoon shopping with your mom. Your mom holds a door open for someone. And now you're standing in a parking lot watching her bleed out because someone couldn't let go of a perceived slight. Paramedics arrived and rushed Cecilia to Methodist Central Hospital, but the damage was too severe. Cecilia Simpson was pronounced dead, 41 years old, gone, over a thank you that was never said. Back at the scene, Dallas police were already working fast. They had surveillance footage from PetSmart showing the shooting and Hampton's escape. They had eyewitnesses. They had cell phone video. They knew exactly who they were looking for and what kind of car she was driving. Detective T. Gross took the lead on the case, and investigators used that surveillance footage to trace Hampton's vehicle. They tracked the black Ford 500 to an apartment complex on John West Road in Dallas. Officers spotted someone on an apartment balcony wearing pants that matched what Hampton had on in the surveillance video. They had her. Around 7:45 that same evening, just hours after the shooting, police pulled over Hampton's vehicle during a traffic stop. They arrested her right there. No chase, no standoff. just a 22-year-old woman who had shot someone dead over an argument that started because of a door. She was taken into custody and brought in for questioning. And here's where things get even more revealing about what was going through Hampton's mind. Hampton waived her Miranda rights. She agreed to talk to detectives, and she admitted it. She told them, yes, she shot Cecilia Simpson. She confessed to getting into a fight with Cecilia and the witness, meaning the daughter. She explained the whole sequence, how she had argued with them, how she had left PetSmart and come back, how it all escalated. But then she said something that speaks volumes about how she saw the situation. She told detectives she was just trying to get Simpson away from her, just trying to get her away. Think about that justification for a second. Cecilia was the one who walked over to Hampton after the bottle was thrown. Cecilia was the one hitting Hampton, and Hampton's response was to pull out a gun and fire 3 times. Keona Hampton was charged with murder. She was taken to Dallas County Jail and held without bond, meaning no amount of money could get her out while she waited for trial. The evidence against her was overwhelming. Surveillance video, cell phone footage, eyewitness testimony from Cecilia's daughter, and her own confession. This wasn't a whodunit. Everyone knew who did it. The question wasn't guilt. The question was why, and whether Hampton would try to claim self-defense. Meanwhile, Cecilia's family was living through absolute hell. Her son, Duran, remember he's only 16 years old, told reporters he doesn't sleep much anymore. Instead of dreams, he's plagued by unanswered questions. He kept asking what was Hampton thinking, what was going through her mind. Why did she have to follow his mom? What provoked her to continue engaging? He called it senseless. His grandmother, Leslie, described it as a bad dream she can never wake up from. But that never happened, she said. It's a sad, difficult, hard thing. Senseless. That word kept coming up. Senseless. The family held a balloon release at Armstrong Park in Duncanville on the Saturday after the shooting. Cecilia's classmates came out to honor her memory. They wanted to remember the woman who loved hard, who helped often, who saw the good in everyone. The family started a GoFundMe, not just for funeral expenses, but also to get counseling for Cecilia's daughter and son. That daughter witnessed her mother's murder. That son lost the person he loved most. The trauma doesn't end when the news cameras leave. It lives with them every single day. Cecilia's sister Monica and cousin Stephanie both emphasize the same thing in their interviews. They wanted people to know how Cecilia lived, not just how she died. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister. She had a family who loved her and will miss her forever. But here's the brutal reality. When you search Cecilia Simpson's name now, what comes up? A shooting over a thank you. That's her legacy in the public record. A woman who held a door open and paid for it with her life. So where does this leave us? As of now, Keona Hampton is awaiting trial under case number 1447122-2025. The legal system will decide whether this was murder or whether Hampton can successfully argue self-defense because Cecilia was hitting her when she fired those shots. That's going to be the fight in court. Was Hampton defending herself, or did she escalate a fistfight into an execution? You tell me. When someone is hitting you and you pull out a gun and shoot them 3 times, is that self-defense or is that murder? This case forces us to ask some really uncomfortable questions. What drives 2 strangers to keep engaging in conflict instead of walking away? Both women had multiple chances to let it go. Cecilia could have ignored the lack of thank you. Hampton could have not followed them to PetSmart. Cecilia could have driven away when the bottle hit her car. Hampton could have fought without a gun. Every single step of the way, someone could have chosen differently, but nobody did, and now a woman is dead. 2 kids don't have their mother, and a 22-year-old is facing a murder charge that will define the rest of her life. How would you have handled it if you were in that parking lot? What do you think really pushed this from annoying to deadly? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I genuinely want to know how you see this. And if this case got you thinking, if it made you feel something, share this video. Let's keep this conversation going. Subscribe to CrimeLab Report if you haven't already. Check out our other deep dives into cases that need attention. And let's make sure stories like Cecilia's don't just disappear. Justice matters. Truth matters. We'll see you in the next one.